So it's Sunday. We're in our series, Choose Wisely. Hopefully, the series has been a blessing to you. And hopefully, as we walk through the series, you are examining the choices that you have made or you are currently making or that you need to make. It is always my prayer that, every Sunday when I stand to speak, or even when anyone from our preaching and teaching team, whether it's Chris or Lisa or anyone else who may be up on a Sunday, it's my prayer, Lord, that something is said that challenges us and strengthens us for our journey. So we talked about this past Sunday, the idea of choosing to believe, and one of the statements that I made in that our big idea for Sunday was faith is your greatest asset. That was kind of the root of what we were talking about, and so I want to build on that idea tonight, and hopefully you will this will enhance what we talked about on Sunday, but also give you some new revelation for where we want to go. All right, so this is my big statement I want to make tonight, and hopefully you will receive it. Hopefully you hear it. Uh, and my big statement for tonight is simply this: things grow in the right environment. I'll say that again. Things grow in the right environment. And I know for some of you all thinking like, duh, David, that's not that profound. But I think I really need you to understand, and I need you to think about that idea that things grow in the right environment. The reason I want you to think about that idea is for the simple fact this is true whether good or bad. All right. Whether good or bad, things grow in the right environment. So when you think about trees and you think about vegetation, when you think about plants, when you think about uh, gardens and things of that nature, those are all good things. And in the right environment, those things grow, produce fruit, and they flourish. But on the other side of that, also in the right environment, mildew can grow, mold can grow, fungus can grow, right? Because everything needs a particular environment in order for it to grow and in order for it to thrive. Let me say it again. It Everything needs a particular environment in order for it to grow and in order for it to thrive, because things grow in the right environment. So watch this. So whatever you want to grow in your life, you must first create the right environment. Yeah, whatever in your life that you want to see grow or to flourish or to thrive, before it will do that, what you have to do first is to create the right environment. Check this out. The farmer does not just go outside and throw seeds on the ground. Like, if it was that easy, everybody would farm, right? The farmer doesn't just go and say, okay, this is a lot of space. Let me just start dropping seeds, right? Planting seeds is never the first thing the farmer does, because the farmer understands that, could I do that? Yes. But could I maximize growth and could I maximize my harvest by doing that? No. So the farmer, first thing the farmer does is create the right environment. And sometimes that means they have to dig up the soil. Sometimes um, they may have to bring in soil. They may have to water the ground. They have to do a lot of things. They may have to remove some things. Why? Because they want to create an environment so that their plants or their vegetation or their produce will thrive. And even in our life, we have to create environments that are conducive to growth, which simply means in every environment, in order for it to be conducive to growth, it must maintain the right elements. Now, the right elements are dependent on what you are trying to grow. Now, please don't judge me for this reference, all right? But I'm going to use this reference. For instance, when you think about something like a grow house, right? When people grow substances and things of that nature, right? They may not have the quote unquote best environment, but what they do is they create an environment. That's why they create this house or this place in which they control the temperature, they control the soil, they control the water, they control the sunlight. Because what are they doing? They are creating an environment that's conducive to growth. So my question for you is tonight, what does your life grow? Because the environment of your life is the right environment for something. But is it the something that you desire? All right. Let me say it again. So the challenge and the question we have to wrestle with tonight is, what is our life conducive to growing? What can flourish in our life? What can grow or survive in our life? And again, in order for the environment to be right, there must be the right elements. In order to know what the right elements are, it's supposed to understand what it is or trying to grow. Again, excuse me for this reference. All my references are off today. My wife and I, we wanted to grow a family. There had to be some elements in place in order to grow a family, right? We had to create an environment. We had to make sure all the elements were in place so that we could grow our family. That's what we desire. So the question I need to ask you first, what is it you want to see grow and thrive in your life? And two, have you created the right environment in your life in order to experience that growth? Questions or comments before I move forward? Questions or comments? So our big idea, things grow in the right environment. Questions or comments before I move forward?
I wanted to be a plant mom, and so I got my mom has a variety of plants or whatever. And this particular one that I got is a vine, but it's supposed to be relatively low maintenance, pretty
Yeah.
easy to not kill. So I wanted it in my office, but my office doesn't have windows. And
Mm,
so I had to, I was, trying to figure out how can I have this plant, keep it alive and help it to grow in an office that does not have windows. And so I had to get a grow light for my plant.
mm,
So, it just, when you were talking about cultivating the environment for what you want to grow, that was one of the things that I had to do. I had to get a lamp and I had
yeah.
to get this grow light, and had to make sure that there was adequate room and an adequate plant stand and all these different things to produce the optimal environment for my plant to,
Mm,
not just grow but thrive in this office that does not have windows.
mm.
So yeah.
Right. And Christiane, I'm glad you said that because you made me think about an illustration I was thinking about earlier. And Christiane, that's a perfect example and should encourage all of us that even if the environment where we may find ourselves may not be conducive to growth, we can still create an environment within that environment that's conducive to growth. Help me, Lord Jesus. And the illustration that made me think of, I remember at our previous house, and this was some time ago, there was a pine tree growing in my gutters. Think about that. There was a pine tree growing in my gutters on the back side of my house. There was a pine tree growing, little sprout growing, smaller shit. And you think about like a pine tree shouldn't be growing in the gutters. But what did it teach us? That there was something in the gutters that was conducive to growth. And however, through the wind and rain, whatever, when that seed found itself in the gutters, or when that twig find itself in the gutters, guess what? There was something even in the gutter. Help me, Lord Jesus. If I was preaching this, I'd get happy right here. There was something even in the gutter that enabled a tree to grow. And I need you to hear me what I'm saying. So I want to encourage you, whatever it is you desire to see grow, it can grow, even if the environment where you find yourself is not conducive to grow. But if you're willing to create the environment that's conducive to growth, if you're willing to remove elements, if you're willing to add the elements that are needed in order to make things grow. And in all of our lives, I want to encourage you, in all of our lives, what you want to see grow, thrive, and survive in your life can happen if you create the right environment. So what does this have to do about faith? And we'll move there now. Here it is. This is what I want to say. Just like all those other things you want in your life, your faith can also grow in the right environment. Sunday, we talked about your faith is one of your greatest assets. If this is true, we have to be intentional about nurturing our faith. All right. We have to be intentional about making sure our faith is in the environment in which it can grow. Right. Because we don't want our faith, we don't want to stay on level 1 faith. We don't want to stay on level 10 faith. We don't want to stay on level 11 faith, or whatever level you may be on right now. We want our faith to continue to grow, because as our faith grows, our experiences with God will increase. Help me, Lord Jesus. What we believe God for will increase. What we see God do will increase as our faith continues to grow. So if our faith can grow, we have to make sure in our own lives we are creating an environment where our faith can grow. Yeah, we have to create an environment where we can nurture our faith. And I want to suggest to you, this year we're talking about connections, and I want to talk about some of the elements that have to be in your environment, that need to be in your environment in order for your faith to grow. And I really just want to talk about one tonight. Here it is. One element that you need in your life, if you want to see your faith grow, is you need to be connected to people who believe in you. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. One of the first elements that need to be in your environment in order for your faith to grow is you need to be connected to people that believe in you. So I want to pause right here for this question. Who in your life is telling you you can do it? Who in your life is rooting you on? Now, hear what I'm saying. Your faith should not be contingent on others' belief in you, but it is nurtured by their belief in you. Meaning, I shouldn't have faith in what God has said, or what I shouldn't have faith in myself just because somebody else has faith in me. Now, I'm not saying that, right? You should already have faith. But when other people believe in you, it can help nurture and grow your faith. So again, my question to you is, who in your life is telling you you can do it? Who in your environment believes in you? And I want to pause right now and give you an opportunity to share if there is, or name and celebrate who in your life is telling you you can do it. Let's name those essential elements in your life. You don't have to give me the whole list. At least give me one. All right.
You know, you weren't expecting that. This is kind of a eye opener for me, because I'm realizing that I'm not connected to anyone in this season of my life. So yeah, that explains a lot.
Okay. I can. Okay, I'm gonna circle back to that one, Miracle. I got you. Who else? Who in your life? Somebody else share. Who in your life is telling you you can do it?
Hey, this is Malia.
For me, it's. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, this is Malia. I was just gonna say that Chris is the person
Nice.
who is telling me that I can do it. Yeah.
Dope. Dope. All right. Kaneem, I think I saw you.
Yes, sir. I was just gonna say Alicia is my personal cheerleader, so I'm very thankful.
Yeah. Nice. I got you. And I'm not about to get in trouble. Let me go ahead and shout out my wife. Yeah, my wife is also the one. Let me show you. I'm in my office. This is a sign that Nisha created for me when I was working on my dissertation. I don't know if y'all can read it. Can y'all read it? There we go. It says, "Keep going, Daddy. You got." I don't know. Let me hold this. You got this. Can't wait to celebrate with you. From Dion and Mommy, right? So, like, yeah. So that she's definitely one of those people. But I also want to celebrate. And I can name a lot of people, but one person that came to mind when I was writing this earlier was Bishop Blake Hill. Right, Bishop Blake Hill out of Mississippi, man. Every time I've talked to him, he encourages me. And he tells me that, man, David, like, I'm not worried. You got it, right? And then even a good pastor, a friend of mine who's here in the city, Pastor TJ McBride. I texted him the other day, congratulating him when they made a major move at their church at Tabernacle Praise. Just you know, raise the money they needed for their capital campaign to build this beautiful facility. And his only reply to me was simply, "You're next." Like, so, like, those things, they, and when reason, and I'm gonna open it up. If anybody else would say, my spouse, but also my girls, I see you, Miss Siobhan. Anybody else? Who in your life, and take time if you want to celebrate somebody right now. I don't want to move past this, and then we dig into who in your life is telling you you can do it.
So I just had my annual review at work,
Nice.
and she's not my direct supervisor, but the associate director.
Mm.
She was the one who conducted the review, and she was there like from when I first started.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I just want to applaud you for the growth that I've seen in you since you've been in the position that you're in. So I'm grateful for like people who have seen me at my not so best times and have been there through the process and
Yeah.
can see the growth and appreciate the growth, and not just that, but like encourage me in the process. Like, I see you, but I know you
Mm.
can do better,
Yeah.
as well. So that to me, I'm grateful for her.
Nice. Cool. Couple comments I see. Fee said, "My husband, mom, family, friends, business partners, prayer partners, a lot of folks." Well, praise God. Miracle says, "I stand correctly. Definitely, my husband is my number one. I was more so thinking outside the community." I figured that's what you was thinking. But I appreciate that. But the point I'm saying is, the reason I wanted to do that is we just have to be mindful and make sure that in our environment, in the environment that we create in our lives, we are connected to people who believe in us. Man, you need to know who you can call when you're not feeling your best. You need to know who you can call when something you've been working on is not working out, and you can just call them. You don't even have to tell them that, hey, blah 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 is happening. But you just know, if I talk to this person, they're going to encourage me. Why? Because they just simply believe, and watch what happens. The reason that's important, when people believe in it, nurtures your faith. It makes you even more confident. And how does that happen? I see you, Fee, my pastor. I see you. I How does that happen? Let me show you. Joshua chapter 1. I think in Joshua chapter 1, it shows you why it's important to have people in your life who believe in you. In your environment, you need to have people who believe in you. Joshua chapter 1, I'm reading from the English Standard Version. I'm going to skip around so I can cover this whole chapter. Verse 1 and 2 says, "After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, you and all this people, into the land that I'm giving to them, to the people of Israel." Let me pause right there. You have to understand, if God has given you an assignment, if God has given you purpose, or if God has given you a task, it's because God believes in you. Yeah. If God has called you to do anything, or God has positioned you for something, it's because God believes in you. God called Joshua after the legend Moses has died. He called Joshua because God said, I believe Joshua can get the job done. But that's not even the point I'm trying to make. Verse 1 and 2, God calls Joshua, right? And then he begins to lay out some other things, right? He tells him to be strong and courageous in the next couple verses. In verse 10, it says, Joshua commanded the officers of the people. After Joshua receives a calling from God, Joshua then begins to talk to the people. And in verses 10 through 15, he's talking to the people. And here, verse 16, this is where I want us to get. Watch what happens. And they answered Joshua, all that you have commanded us, we will do. And wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your commandment and disobeys your words, whatever you command him shall be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Let me tell you what these 3 verses teaches us about. This is how you really know somebody believes in you. The first point is this: when somebody believes in you and really believe in you, they listen to you. That's the first thing. They listen to you. Watch verse 16. This is what the people said to Joshua. All that you commanded us, we will do. They didn't go in a back and forth with Joshua. They believed in Joshua. And since they believed in Joshua, they believed in what they said, what he was saying. They were willing to listen to you, listen to him, right? And in your life, if somebody believes in your dream, believes in what you're doing, and just believe in you and you, they will make time to listen to you. They won't discredit you. They won't try to deter you. They won't brush you off, but they will listen to you. But I just the David Kinnebrew me, I got to show the other side of this. I want to suggest to you, yes, they believed in Joshua, but I think a part of that is because Joshua gave them something to believe in. Help me, Lord. They had seen his work. They knew his resume. They saw how he was a faithful servant to Moses. They saw how he was gone with the spies and how he worked and all the things that he did. He gave them something to believe in. And in all of our lives, we need to make sure we're handling business in a way and living life in a way that you give people something to believe in, right? Yeah, we may know your talents, we may know your gifts. If that's something to believe in, or we may just see your work ethic. That's something to believe in all of our lives, especially in a lot of us mention things with our spouses. We need to make sure we're giving our spouse something to believe in. Give your spouse something to believe that, yes, it will get better. We talked about that Sunday. Give your spouse something to believe in that, oh, I can trust them or I can depend on them. Give them something to believe in. But even beyond just in our marital relationships, even in our business partnerships or even in ministry, give people something to believe in. And the sign that they believe in you is they will listen to you. Joshua tells them what to do based on what God said. They don't even question it. All they say is, all that you've commanded us, we will do. So the first thing, when somebody really believes in you, they'll listen to you. Questions or comments before I go to the second one? All right. Well, at least, is this making sense so far? Y'all with me? Give me a thumbs up or something. Is it making sense?
Yes.
All right. Cool. All right. I got a yes and a thumbs up. So I keep going. All right. So the first thing, when somebody believes in you, they will listen to you. Second thing is somebody believes in you, they will follow you. Look at verse 16 again. It says, wherever you send us, we will go. First, they listen to him. Then it said, we will follow you, because wherever you send us, we will go. To follow is a sign of trust. Yeah. When I believe in you, that means I have a level of trust in you. And I can follow you because I'm believing you're not going to send me in the wrong direction. I'm believing what you said you're going to do is going to happen. So I can follow you. Why? Because I trust what you said. I trust that you will do what you said you will do. And you have to, when people may give you lip service and say, oh, I believe you. I believe in you. How you can do it. You can do it. But if they don't follow you, that mean they may not trust you. Meaning, I believe they may believe in you for a certain extent, but to the fact where they will follow you, to the fact they will support the idea, to the fact that they will go out their way for the idea, they will help the idea. It's because they trust you. They trust you with the vision God has given you. They trust you with your idea, and they trust you will get things done. And watch this. And I need to make sure I'm pointing back to our big idea, because when people believe in you, the reason that's an important element, it nurtures your faith, right? Because when people follow you, it shows that they trust you. It makes you more confident. Like when people listen to you, it makes you more secure. When people follow you, it makes you more confident. Let me give you the third thing. They listen to you. They follow you. The third thing is they affirm you. Look at verse 17. Watch what they tell Joshua. Just as we obeyed Moses in all things, so we will obey you. In this moment, they're affirming Joshua now as the leader. Moses had been leading them since they came out of Egypt almost over 40 years ago. But now they're saying, look, the same way we follow Moses, now we're following you. What did they say? You are now our leader. And by doing that, what are they doing? They're actually also affirming what God had told Joshua. Help me, Lord. And those are the really kind of people you need in your life. The people who will affirm what God told you. Meaning, I affirm what God has spoken to you. And there's so many people, help me, Lord, who are called to do great things, or God gives them vision, but because they're not in an environment where people are willing to affirm their call, they never pursue it. But when you are in an environment when people say, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, those people go full force ahead. And let me prove that to you. The reason I know it's true, because often, even when people aren't called, but they have people who believe in them, they'll still do it. Now, they may fail, but they'll still do it. They still go after it. Right? My sister sent us something in the group chat the other day. And basically it was a post from Instagram, and it basically said there are basically, and I'm summarizing here because I can't remember off the top of my head. Basically, it was saying there are plenty products and businesses that are out here that are actually inferior to your idea. The only difference is they were willing to put it out. They were willing to go after it. They were willing to do it. And I thought about it. I was convicted by that, right? Because I was thinking about what he was saying. They were like, there are a lot of products out there, a lot of businesses. There are a lot of people out there making a lot of money. And it's not that their business is so great, not that they're so business savvy. They believe strongly in themselves. And they got people who believe in them. So they out there pushing their product, selling their product. They keep showing up. They keep posting. They keep tagging. They keep sending messages and things because they just have that much confidence and belief. And often in our lives, because we don't have that belief, or we don't have those people who affirm us, we often don't pursue what God has put in us. They tell Joshua, look, Joshua, hey, the same way we followed Moses, we will follow you. This is very important because that's one thing I believe Joshua, it has to worry about. Like, God, will they follow me? God, will they listen to me? We've been following Moses this whole time. They've been following Moses. Will they? Who am I that they would listen to me? But the community said, we believe in you. So they affirmed him, and they affirmed what God told them. Man. And again, my point earlier was our faith shouldn't be contingent on other people's belief in ourselves, right? It should be contingent, but it does nurture it. Man, it does something when somebody says, hey, I'll tell you, give you an illustration. I got a phone call yesterday, and this was somebody from Higher Calling. And they were like, hey, I just wanted to call and tell you, and this is someone who kind of comes sporadically to Higher Calling. They're like, hey, I was calling telling you, a friend of mine didn't have a church. I told them about Higher Calling, and they really enjoyed the service. And I'm like, oh, cool. I would like to meet. Like, oh no, they live in Chicago. And so for the last couple months, they've been watching our service, and they said they've been encouraged by the word. And they really enjoyed the sermon Sunday. And I'm like, oh, wow. And that really blessed me, because I talked to Ernisha Sunday after I left Higher Calling, and I said, man, whew, it was one of them Sundays when you preach, you're like, I'm just happy to get out without the people booing. Like, that sermon just never settled. It just never just felt right. It just was like, it was weird. Ernisha was like, I could tell because your pace was off. You were just preaching so fast. It was a whole lot going on. Like, I just worked overtime because that sermon but to get that phone call that somebody who wasn't even in the room, somebody was watching online. And for me, it blessed me, because it was like, man, I really did do what God told me to do. Like, I'm worried because in my mind, like, as a homiletician, sermons are supposed to go a certain way. Sermons are supposed to be structured. But to hear that, here it is, I will admit, I gave my best. And the fact that somebody could call and be like, hey, that blessed me. To me, that affirmed for me what God has done. And you think, David, you've been preaching 15 plus years. Like, why did it still does something for me? It still encouraged me, like, oh man, I'm gonna do it again next week, right? So here it is. I need you to understand, when people really believe in you, they listen to you, they follow you, they affirm you. But this is the important one. Last one is this, and we'll wrap up. They protect you. Watch what happens. Watch what the people tell Joshua in verse 18. Whoever rebels against you, against your commandment, and disobeys your words, whatever you command him, shall be put to death. They like, if somebody don't listen to you, we gonna handle that, Joshua. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about people who don't believe. Don't worry about that. We are going to take care of them. Yeah, when somebody really believes in you, they will protect you. And do you know what that does when your faith, when somebody tells you, hey, I got you. You just do what God said. Hey, don't worry about that. I got you. You just go after what God has said. You go after the vision. Hey, I got you. Well, I don't, and a lot of times when you have a vision, like, I don't know how this is going to work. Hey, one of the best things you can do, and I'm talking, and I'm one thing about it, church, we're full of entrepreneurs, idea people, and things in there. One of the best things you can do for somebody with a vision is give them the space and the grace to possibly fail. That's a beautiful thing. When I believe in you so much that I'm going to give you the space and the grace. And when you do that, you're literally telling them, guess what? If it doesn't work out, it's okay. I still believe in you. But I'm going to make sure you're good in the process. Help me, Lord. I'm going to make sure you don't have to worry about certain things as you pursue what God is doing for you. And what does that do for your faith? It means now there's certain worries that are eliminated when I know there are people who will protect me. And that nurtures my faith. I'm stronger. I will pursue God with a greater thrust. Why? Because I'm not worried about certain factors. Why? Because the people who believe in me are going to protect me. Help me, Lord Jesus. People who believe in you will listen to you, follow you, affirm you, protect you. Let me give you one more. But they will also challenge you. Watch the end of verse 18. The people tell him, only be strong and courageous. We believe in you, but this is what you got to do. Be strong and courageous. That goes back to our first point when you give, or our second point, I think it was, when you give somebody something to believe in, you just go be strong and courageous. You just go put in the work. You just take care of business. You just burn a midnight oil on both ends. We'll take care of the other side. You just go do it. You just go be great. You do what God has called you to do. They're challenging him. Look, we get it. It's going to be tough. But you go be strong and courageous. And that's the same thing God told them to do. When people believe in you, they also challenge you. They challenge you to the point like, hey, you can do more than that. You can do better than that. I know there's more in you. I know you could have done that a lot better than that. I know you have a lot more to give. I know you've been cutting corners. I know you've been slacking. I know you've been slipping on your pivot. I know you haven't been giving your A game. I know. Why? Because people who believe in you will challenge you. And when people listen to you, follow you, affirm you, protect you, and challenge you, it creates an environment that ultimately will continue to nurture your faith. That's what we have to do as a church and as in our respective ministries. Man, we have to listen to each other, follow each other, affirm each other, protect each other, challenge one another. Freedom Fellowship Church has to be a church in which we create an environment where people's faith can grow, where people's faith will be nurtured. Why? Because your faith is your greatest asset. So check this out. I asked you earlier, we wrap up with this. I asked you earlier, who is telling you can do it? But now I got to ask the question, who are you telling that they can do it? Who, in whose life are you an essential element in creating an environment for their faith to be nurtured? Who are you protecting? Right? Who are you affirming? Who are you following? Right? We have to be intentional. Even though, don't just make it about your own self, but make sure the same thing you desire from others, you desire people to believe in you. Make sure it's evident that you believe in someone else. I want you to find someone this week. I pray the Lord put somebody on your heart. And don't be, hey, you if it needs to be, if it's somebody in your house, cool, that's cool. But I pray someone even outside of your house that you just can, that the Lord or the Spirit puts on your heart to encourage and be like, man, I believe in you. I believe in you. And I want to challenge all of us this week. Find someone or someone you may already know and challenge them and to let them know, I believe in you. Question